This video will show you how to replace the motor wheel on your electric longboard. First, you need a socket wrench or adjustable wrench to remove the 10 nuts that's around the electronic housing. So remove all 10 nuts first. The size for it is a 5/16 wrench. Once the old 10 nuts has been removed, electric housing should come off. Sometimes you might need to pull real hard on it. Or if it's not coming off, you can always use a flathead screwdriver to pry it off. Okay. This will show the internals of your longboard. First, you want to cut the zip tie that binds the motor wire to the truck. Once you've cut the zip tie, it's time to remove the nut that's holding the motor to the truck. You can use an adjustable wrench to loosen the nut that holds the motor in place. Now it's time to remove the wires. So first you unplug or unhook the 3 main wires from the circuit board to the motor. Now there's also a bunch of fine rainbow wires that's from the motor to the circuit board. Sometimes it can be a little hard to remove. Because it's hot glued, what you can do is blow on it with a hair dryer. Once it warms up, you can unplug the connector from the circuit board. Once the plug is heated up, the hot glue will melt, and you can remove the rainbow wires. The motor should slide off the truck. If it doesn't, you can always knock on it to have it come off from the truck. Now have your new motor ready. So first you'll slide on the new motor. It should fit onto the truck. Make sure it's securely pushed in. Next, you hook up the wire from the motor to the circuit board. Once you put on the motor, you will need to fix the joint onto the electric housing. So insert the joint in and tighten the nut. Next, you'll hook up the wires from the motor to the circuit board. First, you want to connect the yellow wire. Next, you will hook up the blue and the green. These 2 wires you might need to change their sequence later upon testing to see if the board will run properly. So you do not have to either wrap them or tape them just yet. Just simply connect them for the time being. Connect the rainbow wires to the circuit board. Make sure it's securely plugged in. If you have hot glue at home, once it's plugged in, please use some hot glue to make sure it's securely in and fixed to the circuit board. Okay, next you can turn on the board to test if the motor is functioning. So turn on the board and push the accelerator. If it runs smoothly, perfect. If it has problem running, switch the green cable with the blue cable and the blue cable with the green cable and test again. Once these are done, you can put the nut onto the motor to make sure the motor will not come off from the truck. You want to tighten the nut, but not too tight where it impedes with the free spinning of the motor. Next, use the zip tie that's provided, and again bind the motor wire to the truck. Make sure the zip tie is very tight so the motor wire does not move around. Now it's time to close up the electric housing. Make sure all the wires are securely plugged in, and if you do have electrical tape, you can tape up all the connectors separately. When you put all the wires back, just make sure they are wrapped individually. When you tuck the wires away, make sure they're all sitting around the circuit board and no wire is sitting on the circuit board. So please have nothing sitting on the circuit board. And then once you've done that, you can rotate the housing and match up the screws to the metal housing. Make sure all 10 are lined up. Once they're all lined up, now it's time to put the 10 nuts back onto the screws. You can use your adjustable wrench for this, or your socket wrench.